What if some of the world's most famous celebrities spent decades hiding their deepest truth while millions admired them every single day? Behind the glamorous interviews, championship victories, and Hollywood success stories were emotional struggles that almost nobody could see. These transformations were not simply physical changes. They became defining cultural moments that challenged expectations, inspired difficult conversations, and completely reshaped public understanding of identity and authenticity. And one story later in this video may truly leave you speechless tonight forever. For millions of Americans, Bruce Jenner once represented the ultimate image of athletic greatness. After winning the gold medal in the decathlon at the 1976 Montreal Olympics, Jenner became an American icon almost overnight. His face appeared on Wheaties cereal boxes, television interviews, and magazine covers nationwide. To the public, his life symbolized discipline, victory, and traditional success. Yet behind that celebrated image, a very different internal struggle quietly existed for decades. Caitlyn Jenner later revealed that throughout her rise to fame, she was privately struggling with gender identity during a time when conversations surrounding transgender experiences were rarely discussed openly in America. Rather than confronting those emotions publicly, Jenner focused intensely on athletic competition, channeling personal confusion into relentless physical discipline and achievement. Everything changed in 2015 when Caitlyn appeared on the cover of Vanity Fair with the now famous words, "Call me Caitlyn." The announcement immediately became one of the biggest cultural moments of the decade. For some viewers, the revelation felt surprising. For others, it became a powerful example of personal honesty arriving later in life. What makes Caitlyn's story especially meaningful is that her transition happened after already becoming one of the most recognized public figures in America. She risked public criticism, misunderstanding, and intense media attention in order to finally live truthfully. Her journey showed millions of older viewers that identity and authenticity can remain hidden for years behind even the brightest success. More importantly, it reminded people that personal truth does not disappear with age. Sometimes it simply waits for the courage to finally be spoken aloud. Kim Petras understood her identity from an unusually young age, long before she became an internationally recognized music star. Growing up in Germany, she attracted public attention as a teenager after openly discussing her experience with gender identity during a period when these conversations remained highly controversial in many parts of society. For years, media attention often focused more on her personal life than her actual talent, creating enormous pressure during her early development. Instead of allowing public scrutiny to define her future, Kim turned her full attention toward music. Inspired by pop culture and determined to succeed on her own terms, she spent years refining her sound, writing songs, and building a dedicated audience online. Slowly but steadily, she earned recognition for her creativity, catchy melodies, and undeniable stage presence. Her career reached a historic milestone in 2023 when she became the first openly transgender woman to win a Grammy Award for Best Pop Duo Group Performance alongside Sam Smith for their worldwide hit, Unholy. The moment represented more than musical success. It symbolized changing attitudes within mainstream entertainment and demonstrated that audiences increasingly valued artistry over outdated expectations. What makes Kim's story especially powerful is her persistence. From a very young age, she faced public curiosity, media pressure, and social criticism while still trying to discover herself personally. Many people expected those challenges to limit her opportunities. Instead, they strengthened her determination. Today, Kim Petras represents a new generation of artists whose identities are not hidden in order to achieve success. Rather than becoming famous despite her authenticity, she became successful while fully embracing it. Her journey sends an important message that personal truth and ambition can exist together without compromise. Unlike many public figures in this conversation, Lily Rosen never pursued mainstream celebrity or entertainment fame. Yet her story may be one of the most emotionally powerful because it involves balancing personal authenticity with deep cultural tradition. Raised within a tightly connected Hasidic Jewish community in Brooklyn, Lily grew up surrounded by strict religious expectations, strong family identity, and long-standing cultural customs that shaped nearly every part of daily life. Leaving that environment was not simply a personal choice. It meant navigating enormous emotional, spiritual, and social consequences that outsiders often struggle to fully understand. Many people facing similar situations feel forced to completely abandon their past in order to move forward. But Lily chose a different path. Rather than rejecting the culture she came from, she found ways to preserve and honor important parts of it. Through her work as a Yiddish language and cultural consultant, Lily helped projects like Netflix's Unorthodox and the independent film Menashe portray Hasidic Jewish life with greater realism and respect. Her lived experience allowed filmmakers to avoid stereotypes while presenting traditions more authentically to mainstream audiences. What makes Lily's journey especially meaningful is her ability to exist between two worlds often viewed as incompatible. She demonstrated that embracing personal identity does not always require erasing history, heritage, or community completely. For many older viewers, Lily's story resonates because it reflects universal themes far beyond gender identity alone. It speaks about family expectations, belonging, tradition, and the difficult balance between honoring one's roots while still choosing personal truth. In many ways, her quiet courage may be the most relatable transformation of all. Hunter Schafer represents a modern form of celebrity shaped equally by artistry, activism, and personal authenticity. Many viewers first recognized her through her breakout role as Jules in HBO's Euphoria, where she portrayed a deeply emotional and vulnerable character navigating identity, relationships, and self-discovery. Her performance immediately resonated with younger audiences because of its honesty and emotional realism. But long before acting, Hunter had already established herself within the world of high fashion. She modeled for luxury brands including Prada, Dior, and Gucci, helping challenge traditional standards surrounding beauty and gender expression on international runways. Unlike many models who simply follow industry expectations, Hunter used fashion as a form of self-expression and artistic identity. What many people do not realize is that activism became part of her life years before Hollywood fame arrived. As a teenager in North Carolina, Hunter participated in legal action opposing controversial legislation that restricted restroom access for transgender individuals. That experience helped shape her public voice and strengthened her commitment to advocacy. What makes Hunter particularly interesting is how naturally she combines creativity with activism. She does not separate her art from her personal beliefs. Instead, both elements exist together as part of a larger message about individuality and acceptance. For older audiences, Hunter's story provides insight into how younger generations increasingly view identity as something personal rather than something defined entirely by traditional expectations. Her rise reflects cultural change happening not only in entertainment, but across fashion, media, and public conversation. More importantly, it demonstrates how visibility today often begins with authenticity rather than conformity. Laverne Cox's story is not simply about celebrity. It is about resilience, survival, and transforming pain into purpose. Raised in Mobile, Alabama, during a deeply conservative period in American culture, Laverne experienced severe bullying and isolation as a child because of her femininity and self-expression. Those experiences created emotional wounds that might have silenced many people permanently. Instead, she discovered strength through performance, dance, and the arts. Her breakthrough came in 2013 with her unforgettable role as Sophia Bursay in Netflix's Orange is the New Black. Unlike many previous portrayals of transgender characters, Sophia was presented with humanity, intelligence, warmth, and emotional complexity. Audiences were not simply watching a storyline. They were witnessing a deeply human experience portrayed with dignity and compassion. The role transformed Laverne into one of the most influential transgender figures in modern media history. She became the first openly transgender person nominated for a Primetime Emmy Award in an acting category, opening doors that had previously remained closed within Hollywood. But what truly separates Laverne from many public figures is her ability to educate without hostility. Through interviews, speeches, and public appearances, she consistently encouraged understanding rather than division. Older audiences especially connected with her calm communication style and emotional honesty. Laverne's influence extended far beyond television screens. She helped shift public conversations about identity, representation, and respect during a time when many Americans were still learning how to discuss transgender experiences openly. Her journey proved that visibility alone is not enough. True impact comes from combining visibility with empathy, compassion, and courage. Because of Laverne Cox, countless people who once felt invisible began believing their stories mattered too. Long before Elliot Page publicly shared his identity with the world, he had already established himself as one of Hollywood's most respected actors. Audiences first discovered his remarkable talent in the critically acclaimed film Juno, a performance that earned him an Academy Award nomination and widespread praise for his emotional depth and authenticity. He later strengthened his career with major films like Inception and successful television projects that turned him into an internationally recognized star. Yet despite fame and professional success, Elliot privately struggled with a growing disconnect between public expectations and his inner reality. In 2020, he courageously announced that he was transgender, instantly becoming one of the most visible transgender men in entertainment history. Unlike younger public figures who transition early in their careers, Elliot made this decision after already achieving global fame, making his announcement even more emotionally significant. Following his public statement, Elliot appeared on the cover of Time magazine in 2021, creating an important moment for representation in mainstream media. For many viewers, especially older audiences unfamiliar with transgender experiences, his openness created a more human and personal understanding of identity rather than simply political conversation. What made Elliot's journey resonate deeply with people was his honesty about emotional relief. He explained that after publicly embracing his identity, he finally felt comfortable existing in his own life without fear or emotional exhaustion. That vulnerability connected with millions of people facing their own private struggles, even unrelated to gender identity. Elliot's story ultimately became larger than Hollywood. It reflected the universal human desire to feel accepted, understood, and emotionally free. His transition did not erase his talent or accomplishments. Instead, it allowed audiences to see him more completely than ever before. Janet Mock's influence extends far beyond visibility or celebrity recognition. She became one of the most intellectually respected voices, shaping how transgender stories are discussed in modern American media. Her breakthrough arrived with her best-selling memoir, Redefining Realness, a deeply personal account that offered readers an honest and compassionate look into her childhood, identity, and emotional resilience. Unlike sensationalized media coverage often seen in earlier decades, Janet approached storytelling with dignity, intelligence, and nuance. Readers connected not only with her experiences, but also with the clarity and humanity she brought to difficult conversations surrounding gender identity and belonging. But Janet's impact did not stop with writing. She later became a powerful creative force behind the groundbreaking television series Pose, serving as a writer, director, and producer. The series focused heavily on the lives of transgender women of color during a historically overlooked period of American culture. Rather than reducing these stories to suffering alone, Janet emphasized joy, ambition, family, and emotional complexity. What separates Janet Mock from many public figures is her role behind the camera. She did not simply ask to be represented. She became one of the people creating representation itself. That distinction matters enormously because it shifted transgender voices from subjects of storytelling into authors of storytelling. Her career reflects a larger cultural transformation happening across entertainment industries. Visibility alone is no longer enough for many creators. Increasingly, people want authentic voices shaping narratives directly. Janet helped lead that movement with intelligence, grace, and creative determination. Her journey demonstrates how true influence often begins not with fame, but with the courage to control your own story. Before you leave, tell us honestly in the comments. Which story surprised you the most? And which journey changed the way you think about identity, fame, or personal courage? Your voice matters here, and these conversations help others feel less alone. If you enjoyed this documentary, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more untold celebrity stories, emotional transformations, and powerful journeys that reveal the human side hidden behind fame.